welcome. Good afternoon.
Good
Again,
afternoon.
please do remember that we are recording our meetings in case you do not want to show your face, to um, your name. Just remove your face and your name from the screen, okay? You have the three dots next to your name that you can easily do that in case you already do not know how to do it, okay? So today we continue with our studies from Joanna de Angelis. We are studying the book Alert by the medium Divaldo Franco and the Spirit Joanna de Angelis. And today we are on lesson 11, Patience and Charity. This book is not yet published. We just translate it, and as we go through it, we are doing the final revision. So I'm going to start reading it. Patience and Charity. The insalubrious comments that were weaved against your character bewilder you, hurting your most dear aspirations. You suffer the sting of difficulties and maliciousness that are placed in your path, reaching the flesh of your soul. You suffer the gratuitous disbelief of well-educated individuals who allow themselves to become numb by the fumes of antipathy and turn their animosity against you, not resting in the task of unbalancing you. You experience angst when you become aware of erratic problems that are created involving your name and your behavior in a crude manner are outrageous pejoratives. Perhaps you would like to walk without tripping, unaware of impediments. However, do not forget that you find yourself on earth, and this is the field in which you were called to work. Raise your hands if any of you have never experienced that in your lives. Okay? Well, it's sad, but human nature, we humans, we still need to get so much better than we are. And thinking about not necessarily the situations that other create for us, because this is their responsibility, but the situations we create for others that are related to everything that Joanna de Angelis is saying here. I remember one phrase that Chico Xavier used to say, it's something like, it saddens me when someone faults against me, but it would sadden me more if I were the one doing it.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
And the thing is, we really have to pay attention to ourselves. I mean, when we read this lesson, it's very easy to feel, unfortunately, in very familiar territory, because I imagine we all go through that, the results of human behavior. But the thing here is also to waken us up to not be the ones doing that, which is so much more serious than just being the recipient of all this maliciousness, like she says, and constant attack and everything else, antipathy, everything else that people can create to make our past much more difficult than they already are. Being born on Earth is not a vacation. It's actually the other way around. It requires a lot of work on our part to deal with the circumstances that surrounds us, but also to deal with ourselves and to be able to fulfill what we came here for, which is, of course, to improve ourselves, to better ourselves. So this is very important for us to think about it, right?
Mm.
Any comments or questions on this part? Nothing? Okay, let's read a bit more. In addition to helping yourself to develop patience and exercise proper humbleness, you should also propitiate detachment of the world's transitory notions. Not even Jesus, unpolluted and incorruptible, experienced an exception of this trajectory, suffering lashes of all types and qualities in order to teach us courage and value. When you face pains that proceed from a plethora of origins, is where the charity of patience lives. Have charity towards those who do not understand you and patience when facing a challenge. So here, let's change our focus more on our behavior as well, but our behavior when we are the ones that are suffering the the attacks, so to say. And the teaching that Joanna de Angelis wants to bestow to us here is that we have to withstand that with patience and courage. There is no other way, and that's why this lesson is called even patience and charity, because she's trying to imply here that people that act in this way, they need our charity. They are still in the very low levels of humanity. If they are acting and causing this much harm, it is because they still are backwards in relation to other people. And they perhaps do not know better. They do not know how to act better. In the last paragraph that we read before, she says here, perhaps you would like to walk without tripping and aware of impediments. However, do not forget that you find yourself on earth, and this is the field in which you are called to work. So it is still pertains to earth to invite, so to say, or to host spirits of this nature, including ourselves. Because I don't think, I don't know, I cannot say for you, but I myself, I cannot throw the first stone. I cannot cast the first stone. I'm trying my best not to be one of those people that she's mentioning here. But every now and then we catch ourselves
Yeah.
with a bad thought, which is remember that we study in the gospel. I mean, even if you say raka, which was a common expression of the time. I mean, you would say that as almost meaning nothing, um, and or like we learned from Andrea. I love that teaching, Andrea, last week that you gave us. Oh, bless your heart. But actually you're kind of meaning raka, right? Uh,
Yes.
actually, I saw that on a movie yesterday, and I said, "Oh, this is it." And one came, they were from Georgia, and one came and said, "Oh, bless your heart." I said, "Oh, now I
Oh, yeah,
know."
there you go.
And I said, and I mean, and she said, like you said, they mean it, which obviously had nothing to do with bless your heart. And
Right.
so I said,
Exactly.
oh my God, I learned that. So this is what Joanna de Angelis is trying to prevent us. And I mean, even when we are going with the flow. I mean, everyone says that is a common expression. It's not that bad. I mean, it is.
It is.
We are sending energy with our thoughts, so it is bad. And here, what she's trying to say, and I mean, again, focusing on the teaching from Chico Xavier, it's also important for us to think that, okay, I'm not happy in being the recipient of so much, hatred or those things. But on the other hand, I would be really more worried if it was I was the one doing that. And the lesson that she gives us here, of course, she's using Jesus, but not to say look at the behavior of Jesus, but more to say, listen, you may have doubts in relation to yourself, but we cannot have doubts in relation to Jesus in terms of deserving those kind of behavior. And still, because of others' inferiority, he could not prevent that. So that's why, have charity towards those who do not understand you, and patience when facing a challenge. Not that long ago, we were the ones, let's say, throwing stones at the cross. Today, people are throwing stones at our crosses. Questions, comments?
Yusara, I'll ask you a question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like Joanna de Angelis says here, this is work. We're here to call to work with what we have to improve in. But sometimes when, you have someone that's challenging you, and I don't want to be the one who throw the stones. I try my best not to. But the person does infuriates you and you hold on. And I've learned throughout the learning of Spiritism that it becomes easier through time because we continue to keep these beautiful lessons in our hearts, and somehow or other it sticks to us. It helps us when things go awry and we find ourselves in difficulties. And I find myself, even if I have to bite my tongue, step on my whatever, hold on tight, but don't you be the one who's going to throw that, because I'm not going to do it. So exactly what she says, this is work, and we have to do as much as we can to not to find ourselves in that situation. And it's an everyday test. Every day in your life is something, whatever it could be, that you are being tested, and this continues every day in my life. I want to do the right thing. I don't want to be caught in a mess. I'm not going to say nothing negative. Hang on tight. Say a prayer. God, here, listen to me. I need your help right now. But it's a very, very difficult job to do at times. Sometimes it becomes, it's easy. Other times you just hang on. It's gonna be okay. Just don't be the one. Be nice. Remember what you've learned. It's amazing how this does. Oh my God, opens doors to live your life in a better way, and a help that we need every moment in our lives. And I thank God for that.
While you were talking, Soraya, it came to me the image of something that I forgot the name, and you will have to help me with that. I don't remember in Portuguese, not in English. It's not the hurricane, it's the other one that we went. Tornado. I
Tornado.
heard your lips. I heard your lips. The tornado. It's like, we have a tornado in front of us,
Ugh.
right? And I mean, if we allow ourselves to get by this tornado, then we are in the fight, and there is no way we can leave that tornado.
Right.
But like you said, we have the ability of holding on tight
Yes.
and not allow ourselves to be drawn
Mm.
and immersed by that tornado. So yeah, it is hard.
Very,
Sometimes
very.
it's very, very hard, and that's why, we have that example of the lesson that Chico Xavier's mother gave to him to go look for the water of peace. For those who do not know, maybe all of you do, but he was talking exactly about, the challenges of enduring so much misunderstanding and malice and all that, and how should he react. And she said to him, "Oh, my son, you need to take the water of peace." And he went to the pharmacy looking for this water of peace
Oh, God.
because he thought, like, a few drops of
Well,
would it would be like a homeopathic medicine or something, until she came up to him the other time, and then he said, "I couldn't find the water of peace." And she basically said, "Oh, you silly." The water of peace, just put a water in your
pour it in
mouth
your mouth.
and don't swallow it until you're able to control yourself.
Yeah, no, that's
So
a beautiful way of thinking. Yeah,
yeah, so it is hard. There are days that we may be more susceptible to those kind of, comments, or to all this things that Joanna de Angelis is describing here. But the thing is, we have to come to a point that at least we have to feel sorry for people that are doing that.
exactly. Yeah.
Feel sorry is not a great sentiment, a great emotion, but it's a way ahead.
Yeah.
Like, we will say, "Oh my God, how come this person is still doing this, is still wasting their time in this?" Sometimes I say, I don't know how people find time to do all those things, because I barely have time to do if I have what I have to do. And so, to be even kind of manipulating and all those things, it's really, really hard. Any other comments? Should we go on?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go here. Okay. Well, it's when you are despised and stigmatized by the intolerance and insistence of those who prefer to pursue instead of being of service, train yourself in charity and patience. Serenity now.
Oh,
A difficult charity is to forgive your offender and think of them as an unwell individual who is in need of your friendship and esteem. At the same time, it is an enlightening path for your aspirations through patience and with perseverance in your obligations. Charity is the donation of love, the transference of resources and coin to soften trials and pains, the fraternal aids of soup and bread. Therefore, to have patience with those who persist in making our progress towards goodness difficult by seeking the Father constitute the excellent moral charity in which we are all in need, since for sure yesterday we have been delinquent, and we are now learning to repair, or we have been mistaken, needing in turn the donation of benevolence from our neighbor. The charity of patience is one of the most expressive virtues that an authentic Christian should cultivate. I remember now another story from Chico. Uh, it seemed that one of the practitioners, workers of a spiritual center came to him complaining about, those kind of behaviors that people were having in relation to him. And he was saying, "Oh, it's been so hard that there are so many people, that come and provoke discussions, and are, and gossips and all that. and Chico was here listening to him. And when he finished, he said, "Oh, my son, what a blessing." And then he said, "Wait a minute. What are you talking about? Did you hear what I was saying? People are throwing me stones non-stop. How come this is a blessing?" I said, "Yeah, because not long ago you were the one doing that."
Stones.
So you see, that's what exactly what Joanna de Angelis is telling us here. It was not long ago that we were doing all those negative things, creating problems, making people's path towards progress, goodness, righteousness more difficult. And in a way, perhaps we still do, maybe not as much as we used to do before.
Yeah.
And so that's why she says, that charity, understanding that we all have our time, we all have our possibility, our weaknesses, and we are not here to judge. We are here not to put more wood on the fire and create more confusion. And that's why she calls our attention to the charity of patience. And I mean, when we look at people, I don't know if you had the chance, the opportunity. I don't know if it's still. It used to be in Netflix a while ago to watch that movie they made about the letters of Mother Teresa of Calcutta.
The letters.
Oh my God,
Yes. Letters.
she suffered so much. People that were, all the other nuns and that were with her on the cloisters on the, the same congregation that she were, no one understood her. I mean, or basically no one. She had two friends that helped a little, but none of the other, not even the Mother Superior. They tried to prevent her from doing her work when she was starting, of course, at any cost. And then the people that she wanted to help, because they were from a different religion, they were very skeptical and also made her work so much hard. So here she is, from one side being misunderstood and attacked, from the other side the same. And what she did, she continued doing what she knew it was the right thing to do. She didn't criticize one side. She didn't criticize it. She didn't stop to. I mean, that those were the same people that she was trying to help that were throwing stones at her. I mean, any of us would say, "Oh, come on! I'm here trying to give bread to you, and you slap me in the face."
Mm.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, and she didn't lose her way. I mean, and we know that, right? We know the end of the story.
Yes.
But I mean, when you watch this movie and you pay attention to the conditions, I mean, she had to fight within the clergy to be able to help, and she had to fight in the community that she had to help because they thought that she had, I mean, a hidden agenda.
Yeah.
That she wanted to, converge people. And so this is what a person that understands what goodness is do. They march ahead no matter what, because they have this sense of duty and they understand that they were called to serve and nothing is going to prevent them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, at the least sign of adversity,
Mm.
you already say, no.
Can't do it.
Someone didn't say good morning to me with such enthusiasm at the center. Who are those people? You know, they should be more, more Christian, more charitable, or nice. You know, and yeah, and we are the ones that are missing the opportunity.
It's true.
Questions, comments?
Mother Teresa, I believe, was an inspiration. I remember the story of the the man that was uh, in the street dying, homeless,
Uh,
and dying the last breath, and she takes this man into her arms and says, "I am here, and you're not gonna die alone." I mean, that if anything, I keep in my mind with her. What an inspiration
yes.
of a woman that was a tiny specimen of a human being, what,
Mm-hmm.
4 feet, I think it was. And
Yeah.
what strength she brought. What strength did she bring to this planet? Beautiful, a beautiful inspiration of a story, and who she was, and an example for us to keep in our hearts, to try
Exactly.
to do, just try to do with respect of what she did. It's a starting point. So
And see, she started very small.
mhm.
Yeah.
And
You know,
already with facing all these adversities, okay, she was young.
Yeah.
She just couldn't stand seeing, you know, people in the conditions they were and not doing anything. But she was no one. She was no one. She was not a powerful politician. She was not at least not at that point a super charismatic person. I mean, she was no one. She was an apprentice of nun in a cloister in the middle of, you know, India. I don't know where she was,
Mhm.
right? And she said, okay, I cannot do much, but what I can do, I will do it. And this is the problem sometimes with us, right? We want to start with the big things. And because we do not value the small actions, and this is what Joanna de Angelis is saying here. She's calling patience charity. And quite often we say, oh, I don't know how to practice charity. I don't have any resources, not only financial, because it could be, you know, your time or your possibility with your career or something like that. We normally say, we don't have any resources to do charity. I don't even know how to begin. Well, be charitable with those that are
Mhm.
criticizing you.
Mhm.
There
Sarah,
yes, yes.
sorry. No,
Go ahead.
I interrupted you. I was just thinking about the tornado example that you gave. When after she passed, a lot of the letters came to light, and some people had, she had doubts in some of her letters. I'm sure you remember that. And then
Uh-huh.
the people started criticizing. It's almost like the tornado was going, and people couldn't avoid from jumping in. And I remember hearing from, people who had such an enlightenment in my mind criticizing her when they read the letters when they came out, and I'm like, oh my god, how can you throw this stone, like, look at this woman, she's nearly perfection, and just because she had some doubts in her inner thoughts, and now those letters come out, people are throwing the stones. It's just like what we're reading, it's just so difficult. We jump in the wagon and just go for it. It's crazy.
It
It's just so
is.
easy.
It is because it seems that we are never content with what we have. You know, when you see someone like her, then you want to say, oh, unless she's perfect, she's no good. I mean, and there is no perfection. There is only one being that was perfect that came to earth. That is Jesus, as far as we know. So not even, Moses, Buddha, Muhammad, no one was perfect. They all had their, they were, much, much more superior and than we were, but it's still, and yeah, I understand, Andrea, what you're saying. It is hard, like they say sometimes, for the vermin to understand the angel.
Yes.
And we try
It's
to
shocking.
Yes.
find failures. We try to say, oh, you see, she was not that good. She was, come on.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, even nowadays, there are so many people that still say bad things about Divaldo. And I say, my goodness, how come these people do that? Uh, okay, he's not perfect. No one is. But I mean, a man that has almost 700 adopted children, that feeds around 4,000 people a day, children and the community, and still give food to them to take to their homes so that they will not starve during the night and have at least a bread or something to their families as well. I mean, come on. He didn't need to be a spiritist and even giving talks like he gave over 14,000 to be appreciated. Only one of the things that he does is so much more than we can do. And there are still people criticizing, you know. I don't understand. It's just then we see the measure of inferiority that we still bring, and how much blind we are. Because I think, those people should be our role model. And if we look at them, our first sentiment should be, well, this is what I want to be when I grow up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's the example of the tornado again. It's just so strong that and we don't have inner strength to fight it. So it's just easy to get pulled into it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like we need to work on our inner self so we can become stronger and not let them ourselves be pulled. But yeah,
Exactly.
it's so difficult. But we're here in the fight.
It is, Andrea, but at the same time, because we already have the ability of discern, okay, what we have to do is what Jesus advised us to do: be vigilant and pray.
Yeah,
Pray,
exactly.
pray in the sense of not going there and do the memorized prayers, but to get hold of yourself and change your energy, which is something that when we use the values of prayer, or when you are praying, obviously we are in a different kind of energy level. So this is what the pray in the sense mean, because then it's going to be easier for us to refrain, be taken by the tornado in the sense. But the thing that I think we definitely can do now is, when we catch ourselves slipping on this path, being pulled so strongly, we have to take control.
Yes.
You
Oh
should
yeah.
not just say, like when we go on a diet, and then you behave yourself perfectly, then the next day you eat a delicious piece of cake. And instead of stopping there, what we normally tend to do, instead of say, okay, I shouldn't have, but I did, and I will not do it again. We say, oh, since I ate that already, let me, it's no work. Let me eat the rest as well, right?
Yes.
So this is what we shouldn't do. We should just say, okay, I I did something I shouldn't have done, but I still be able to take control and move back. Um, but like you said, it's not easy at all. Not easy at all. Let's read the last paragraph. Jesus waiting for us and loving us without rest until today offers us the sublime and untouched example of charity through patience. So we have examples, and it is our path, it is our destiny. And like we normally say, the longer we prolong it, we are the ones that are going to be suffering the consequences. We are the ones all the time complaining, why my life is like this? Why this suffer? Why? Right?
Yeah.
But we have the tools, we have the control in our hands. We have the possibilities. And even if we fall, because sometimes we actually will, it's hard, we just pick us up again and start again. We should not never give up uh, this behavior. And next week we are going to continue with the challenge of charity. But it's not easy when we have to do that. So comments, questions. We have time.
Then every time you want something like things cross my life, then the situation like a tornado in front of me on my life, then every time when I feel strong and try to confrontation was a disaster. Then the best way that I could do is like face like a wall, like a dam. I cannot understand what's going on. And then the results much better than, and then when I was reading this lesson, then this is a challenge of patience, then I believe this is the way. Then let it go, that person and tornado gone, gone, and not hit me.
Mm-hmm.
Then and damage my soul and things like this. Then
Yeah, sometimes I say that my Italian blood boils up. I feel it. And I'm boiling. And then you have like that. I like that, Sonia. Face the wall. Lock yourself in the bathroom. Do something. Because once you get in, then we are ready for a fight, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the problem. But yeah, little by little, we will get there, right?
We will.
That's the process. That's the beauty of it. I mean, also, we don't need to go through that alone. We have a community. We have, we have our understanding of things that can give us strength in those hours. Surely, we will also feel more disappointed with ourselves when we are not able to prevent ourselves from getting into this kind of confrontation. But life will teach us one way or another. And the more we grow, the more we mature spiritually speaking, the more we age as well.
Yes.
All of that, you know, may help us in this process, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And
Uh, uh,
also, every time when we are learning, and then it's like we can watch the forecast, and then we can see the tornado come, and then we prevent like
Right.
some
yes,
behavior to
yeah,
escape from this. Then
yeah. Yeah, that's why, you know, sometimes when people say, and especially many times the problems we have, it's with our closest one, right?
Yes.
And sometimes, you know, those are people you cannot avoid. But if you can, you should. I mean, if you know that even if we are talking about a close person that you cannot avoid, an in-law, for instance, or a father and a mother sometime, as a brother or sister. I mean, let's try to avoid as much as possible because if we know, you know, the history is always a history of confrontation. We cannot expect different. Why are we going to expect different? You know, uh, and when this is not possible, like you said, Sonia, we prepare ourselves better. We really try to, you know, have a long meditation before going out or something or meeting and try to see if you say there are people that use those elastic bands,
Oh, yeah. Wake you up.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you all the time you feel no, now I'm not going to resist. You pull that, let it hurt you. I don't know, whatever works for you. I never used one of those actually, but yeah, it's not a bad idea. Whatever works for you, you know, just as much as you do not get into more problem than it already is. I know sometimes, you know, for the sake of justice, for the sake of being accepted, for the being understood, we want to go there and, but like you said, it's always worse. It seems that the more effort we make it, sometimes the more difficult it becomes. If the person is not ready,
Right.
there's nothing we can do,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Anything else? Any question?
Question I don't think we have because it's like we are thinking about ourselves, how we behave all the time, and how we will answer for those situations. And was well explained that what I get from that is once I heard that what we speak comes out from our mouth is comes from our heart. So if the person is throwing that in front of us with a as like a tornado, it's because that person is not well with themselves, with herself, with himself. So then comes that point of patience and charity. And yes, it's all the examples we had here was amazing. Like just calm down ourselves, the wall, and I think we is good. And always, I think other thing we can see is like the last paragraph where say Jesus was waiting for us with patience for the whole time. So that means we were the ones also doing that before and still do because we are not 100% yet. We are still little babies
Mhm.
trying to start doing our baby steps. So we have a long way but it's really good to have a chance to learn and to have that lesson. Joanna, she's amazing. Thank you, Josara.
Yeah. Yeah, again, just let's remember that if we are suffering because people are doing that to us, it would be much worse if we were the ones doing it.
Right.
So if it's any kind of consolation, let's just remember the lessons of Chico Xavier. Oh, how blessed you are, you know. Just think like this. Oh, how blessed I am because I'm not the one now. Is still doing that.
Right.
Because we heard those lessons before for sure, and it didn't work. Let this time be the one that is going to do this. Okay, if you don't have any more comments or questions, we can finish for today. Who is going to do the prayer? Have you decided already? Or?
Me.
Okay.